We've got the Bluetooth earbuds in, so hopefully you can hear me. I'll just say rotate device. Orientation is locked. Please rotate device. Okay, let's unlock orientation. Come on. Right. Auto rotates on. Yep. Yeah, not too sure. So it's got a big message on the screen saying rotate that. There we go, it's locked. I'm going to have to work that one out. Stop it. You can look at your phone sideways, it's the only way I can get it. There we go. As I said, hopefully you can see what we're doing here. Here we have the power valve to the cylinder. This is only my second live, so as we go things will get better. Just about to try and put it all back together. There's the barrel. Let's check if we can see the barrel. Okay, we'll turn it around a little bit more. There we go. Now maybe you can see. So we've cleaned them up. Now what did we say? 2 days ago when we went live we were talking about the delamination of the barrel inside the gallery underneath the crank. Now since that live I continued with the smear of grease on the crank, spinning it around, and I picked up quite a few little shards of nickel plate. I then went through a process of flushing out the gallery with 2-stroke petrol mix, siphoning it out and intermittently stuffing a magnetic screwdriver down in and around the gallery as best I could. And I'm now pretty certain that I've got the majority, if not all, the shards out, thereby saving me the time, effort of taking the whole engine out and splitting the cases, which if you had a look at the last video you realise that although I have done this in the past, it's been 40 years since the last time, or nearly 40 years since the last time I split cases on a bike. Back then they didn't have power valves or water cooling, and I had a better equipped workshop, whereas now I've got this little bench here in front of me and a handful of recently purchased tools and some things I inherited. So yes, we're working with minimum equipment. Today's job to rebuild is to have a look at this power valve in front of us, work out how to put it back together, attach it back to the cylinder, check the gap on the power valve, and then the next step would be to fit it back to the engine. So here's our cap, here's this. So put this back where we had it. So this goes that way on the engine. So the power valve will go, I assume, that way, like a jigsaw puzzle. And that way, so that'll give us that. Now, we want to grease these little parts. I did clean it all out with, again with a 2-stroke petrol mix, so there's a light coating of oil on everything. That's interesting. I'm missing a cap. Now I know I haven't lost it, so maybe it didn't have one when I pulled it apart. Well, there you go, the finishing line. Oh no, there it is on the side. My mistake. Right, now. That goes on there like that. I should learn to talk more while I'm doing this, I suppose. Okay, so we've now got the little rollers on the pins on the just greasing everything up. You can never have too much grease. The exception being, of course, down underneath the piston and that or anywhere where you've got oil flow galleries where a lump of grease might in fact block up a hole and prevent airflow, oil flow, or whatever the case may be. But everywhere else where you've got moving parts, yeah, oil is always, grease and lubrication of any type is always the best. Saves the wear and tear of parts, especially on an old bike like this, where the actual replacement of parts is impossible because they don't make them anymore. That one's on. Yep, still not talking. Yeah, I know. I'm finding out why is it so hard to get these to line up and drop back in, and wondering if I haven't put something on the right way around. Yes, because it goes on one, it doesn't want to go on the other. So try spinning the pins around. Put it in the other way. See if that helps. Because there is a little circlip. Maybe that's making the spaces not line up. So we had them in round one way. Haha, fit straight in. So there you are. The pins push in from the inside to go to the outside. There we are. Right, we now have that part done well. Pretty simple really. And that will fit over there and there. So the next part is to grease up around the pins. Obviously don't put any grease on the blades themselves, it'll just get burnt and form part of the actually I'm going to go again. I'm going to grease the top of the valve because they didn't have any carbon deposits on it, just some blow by. Just not on right on the front of the valves. It slips in there like that. Now, of course, get the grease off our fingers before we put our sticky fingers on everything else. Right. Put the lid back on our grease so we only get contaminants in it, like strands of my long, unruly hair. It seems to get into everything. The price you pay for looking beautiful. Okay, I'll turn it around there so you can see. Here we have the working power valve. Actually, while we're here, we may as well put some more light on the subject. See how this goes. I'm not shine it at the phone, so actually, I might put it behind the phone and shine in the direction of the phone. There we are. I don't know if that's adding any light on the subject, but we shall see. Okay. Now, one thing we didn't do. A lot of people have different ideas on gaskets. I've always been one to oil my gaskets or very light smear of grease, and by light I mean just so that you've made it so that the gasket won't stick to the surface. Don't want any lumps under there to cause little pockets. But my belief is that gaskets seal. They don't need to actually stick like a glue. The benefit being for easy removal and reusing of gaskets when you have to do things like power valves. And in this case, I've yet to actually find anyone that makes a replacement power valve gasket. The top end gasket kit from Athena certainly didn't have any. And I haven't come across any on eBay for the WR360. So I want to make sure I can reuse them. So yeah, base gaskets, little gaskets like this, I've always tended to oil them up so that they don't stick, so that they're, it's not an issue when you do tear downs and that, of the gaskets being destroyed, torn, or leaving remnants behind. Now that's a question. What is this one for? Better just double check that there's not one hole we've missed on the inside. No, certainly not a hole. That must be part of the outside of the assembly on the end here. Yeah, I understand this is the first time I've pulled this down, so everything's new to me and unfamiliar. I pulled it all apart several weeks ago, to send the barrels off to be re-nickel-saled. Yeah, not clicking that shit. Yeah, to send it off and get it all re-nickel-saled and that. So that was over a month ago. I pulled it down. So sort of my memory not always being as best as it was when I was young. I look at things now and I go, where the hell did that come from? This is a non-critical area. It didn't have a gasket on it when I pulled it apart. Maybe it had one originally in its design, but again, you can't get these things anymore, and it's a non-critical area. It's outside the actual cylinder cycle, so it makes no difference to compression or running of the engine, and any minute amount of gas that might seep or leak out is going to be so inconsequential towards the running of the expansion chamber that it's not worth looking at. I did watch one guy tearing a motor apart, the WR360. He had one that was working fine and one that wouldn't run, and he inspected everything on that bike to try and work out what was causing it to not run. And eventually he pulled parts off the working WR360 to get the one, to find out what was not working on the other one, basically. And here I am. I walk away from the camera and I raise my voice thinking I'm further away from the camera when I put the earbud in. So again, that's something I'm going to have to learn. And I'm looking for the correct Allen key, which of course is not there. It's not in the pile with everything else. So isn't that a bummer? When we haven't moved or used anything or been anywhere else, just check underneath. No. So considering everything gets put back on that little table right on the bench in front of us, one has to go, where the bloody hell has that Allen key gone? That's one we found on the roadway, so it doesn't form part of the repair. Now, somewhere probably bloody obvious, staring straight at me, we'll check this thing twice. Not under here. Engine mount. In bar, that one. Well, we don't know where the Allen key's gone, but we do have the socket size of the same one, so we'll look for the other one later. Continue on. Yeah, just tightening the screws up. bolts. Now that's annoying. Where would that little one Allen key, the first Allen key I need, and it's vanished on me. I'll probably kick myself when I actually find it. The old adage, correct torque, tighten them up until they strip, back them off quarter of a turn. Give you a perfect torque setting every time. Remember that, tighten them up till they strip and back them off quarter of a turn. Basically you just turn it, you can either use a torque wrench, which I do own, it's one of the few things I did buy. You basically tighten them up until you find resistance and then use a steady force until it doesn't want to move anymore, and at that point you know they're pretty much accurate. I don't use the end of the thing, that gives you too much leverage. I just use my own hand strength, just little bits at a time, and you can feel, yeah, just keep going around until even pressured. Yeah, they're pretty well right there. I'd be happy with that. I don't think they're going to come loose. Clean off the squeeze out. Yep, all those. Yep, they're moving up, down nice. Now, I did notice when I pulled them apart that I didn't feel that the owner had them going all the way down, and they don't even look like they're close, which could explain why I was having all that trouble trying to jet the bike. So, let's see, what have we got here? Start with a rough. Oh, wouldn't you know, unlucky. I'd laugh if this one fit, if it's nothing else. Right. Right. Now we're going to find something to undo that. We've got a little shifter here. Yeah, that's something we should have paid attention to. Which one was the raising or the lowering? Again, we do have a manual. The problem is, all the manuals that you can buy online are missing an important chapter. And that chapter is, and I'm doing it again, raising my voice as I walk away. And that chapter is around the actual disassembly of most of the important engine parts and the actual measurements. It's very disappointing. To say the least, it's very disappointing. Yeah, sorry I'm not on camera. Just doing a naughty thing at the moment. I want you to see. I've got the music playing in the background too. I hope that's not going to get me a copyright or something. It's only pretty soft. But music is the essence of life. Okay, let's get through here until we see something resembling a cylinder. There we go. That's the actual lever. that's more to do with the power valve governor. So let's keep going back and see if we can't find this is reassembling the cylinder. Probably a good chapter to learn. One of the other things I find disappointing, most of their examples, although they've got the stat figures, but all their pictures are of the 250 with a single blade power valve, which they discontinued on the 360 back in 92, I believe. Or they had it in 92 and discontinued it in 93. No. I had found it here somewhere before. I did read it when I first got the manual, so there is something in here somewhere that tells me the actual procedure for setting the power valves. Let's go to the front. Again, it's all in foreign languages too, and it's so hard to follow these. Problem being English, nobody takes into account for index, general maintenance, troubleshoot, general engine disassembly. It'll be under engine reassembly, which is H. There's the start of H, which is where we were looking before. Okay, what I might do, I might end this live, because this is the boring part, and actually check until I can actually find, the other thing is pull this back off and work out which one of these two bolts operates which one of the things. I suppose that's what I might have to do, but I'm going to end the live for the moment. We've got the power valve back in place anyway, which is what we set out to do. We've just got now line up its movement. It appears to me now, I reckon you can't see that there, but that's in its down position. I don't believe that's anywhere near sealed, which is probably what gave us the problem with jetting off idle in the first place, which is what drove me to be playing around with jet needles and then being caught out with the, oops, you've got to go to Campbelltown, and that includes a 10k trip down the freeway, which I had made previously on other jet needles, but this time it was just too lean. And she seized bad. Oh, I know what this is for. This is for the water pipe attachment on the other side. That locks that into place. There you go. So I do know what that is. My memory came back. So yep, I'll end this for now. Still got that stupid sign on there. Orientation is locked. Rotate device. Oh, well, we've got people talking. They've probably been and gone. That's the problem. I can't see the screen. Well, I've got it angled down like that. So we've got Omnitrix going, hi, bro. Chucky Nutty says those Chinese food containers come in handy. Damn straight they do. It's wonderful. I actually go to a place to get meals and I wash them out and reuse them because they keep everything separate, and you don't lose things. It's just one of those, what kind of bomb am I making? Well, if you must know, it is that kind of bomb. And yeah, she went off like a bomb on the freeway a couple of months ago, and destroyed a new cylinder lining. So again, we've only had half a dozen comments, so not many people there. Obviously, I'm boring people to death, but that's the way it goes. One like, oh, one person's gone. One person was here and flicked off. So yeah, as I said, oh no, they're back again. As I said, I'm just about to end this live because I've got to look up the measurements for these two bolts here. They control the adjustment of the opening and closing of the power valve. The power valve, as you can probably see in there, or maybe not, maybe it's too dark, so we'll whack some light on the thing, is not even close to being lined with the cylinder when it's closed, and that is probably what caused me to go down my rejetting path, which led to the C's, etc, etc, etc. And I'll put that down to the previous owner did tell me they had detuned the bike because it was too snappy for him, so I'm assuming that opening the power valve slightly was they took some of the punch out of it off idle. Unfortunately, he didn't tell me exactly what he'd done, and yeah, well, okay. As I said, well, I'm going to end the live stream now, and just while I go and research the which bolts and that, have a cup of coffee, whatever, and then I'll come back. Once again, we push the little X, and then it says, "Are you sure you want to stop streaming?" The screaming. No, you're doing the screaming. Goodbye.